Hello, it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. This morning, I'm going to make some soup, and I'm going to use what I have. So let me show you what I have. I've got two 1 quart jars of chicken vegetable broth that I made. Now, I just made this out of scraps. I made it out of chicken bones and carcasses and some scrap vegetables. And actually, I preserved this. But if you do that for yourself, you don't want to preserve it, just put it in the freezer and it's just fine. I've got a jar, or rather a can of fire roasted tomatoes. I have 1 package of frozen mixed vegetables. These were on sale for 77 cents. So when they come on sale, I like to buy them and keep several packages of these in my freezer if I can, because they come in so handy, especially for soup. I've got a partial bag of chicken pieces here. This is frozen, and it's just what I had left from some chicken thighs that I cooked. So I've got that. I'm going to chop that up a little bit smaller. I've got the end of my celery here, so I'm going to chop some of that. I have partial onion. That's going to go in there too, and I'll probably put some other things like salt and pepper, of course, some garlic, some other things to jazz it up a little bit. Okay. Oh, and I have some boiled potatoes. I boiled these the other day because they were the end of the bag and I wanted to use them up. So I'm going to peel these. I will dice a few of these and I will put these in my soup also. Aren't you excited? I'm excited. All right, I'm going to get busy and then we'll come back and show you what we're doing. Okie doke. I cut up the chicken a little bit smaller, opened my tomatoes, I opened my broth, I opened my bag of vegetables, and in here, in my kettle, I have some chopped celery, I have chopped onion, and I have chopped up 4 of those potatoes. Now, those potatoes were pretty small, so I used 4 of them. And remember, they're boiled, they're pre-cooked, so this soup is not going to take very long. And I have made them bite-size, okay? All right, so I'm not going to saute them in oil or anything. I am going to simply pour in a little bit of my homemade chicken broth here. And I'm going to start those in that. The celery and the onions are raw, so I want to kind of give them a little bit of a boost here. So I'm going to do that first, and my potatoes really don't need a boost, but that's fine. And I think while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to add in my frozen vegetables, because you know they're frozen, but essentially they're raw too, right? Okay. That looks good already. So let's get them started, get them going, and then I will add the rest of the ingredients. Aren't you excited? Okay, it's starting to heat up and it's going to come to the boil here pretty soon. So we're just going to be patient with it. And you can see that I've got the broth in the bottom. This is really a water saute or liquid saute. It's not done with oil. And like I said, the broth is fatty enough. Honestly, I didn't really think I needed to add anything else to that. All right, now I think I'm going to, in the meantime, I'm going to put the chicken in and we'll get that stirred in too. May as well let the chicken come to the party. You know, when I do this kind of cooking, I always think of a story in the Old Testament in the 2nd book of Kings. And it involves the prophet Elisha. I always think of this. I read this many years ago when I was a young mother. And things were tight. You know, sometimes in life things get kind of tight and we have a difficult time. But there was a woman, she came to the prophet Elijah and her husband had died suddenly. And she had 2 sons. And she said to the prophet, she said, she said she was in distress because her husband was a good man and he loved the Lord, but he left debts. And sometimes that happens, doesn't it? We can love the Lord, but, you know, people get in debt. Anyway, she said they're going to come and take my 2 sons and take them as slaves to pay the debt. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because, you know, that woman, all she had was her sons. And the prophet said, what can I... After she told him her tale of woe, I was always fascinated because he said, what can I do for you? and then, right after that, he said, what do you have in the house? And that's something that just stuck in my mind. What do you have in the house? And she said, all I have is a vial or a pitcher of sorts of olive oil. And so he told her, he said, well, he said, now you and your sons, you go around to your neighbors and you borrow every vessel that they will lend you, and then you start pouring that olive oil into the vessels. Well, I'm sure in her mind she thought, what in the world? But she didn't really question that. But she went and she did it. She was obedient. She did it. And, you know, that oil in that one little vessel of olive oil that she had, she poured it into vessel after vessel after vessel after vessel. And she ended up having so much olive oil that she could not only had enough to use, she had enough to sell. And he told her, he said, now you go sell the olive oil to pay your debts, and then you live off the rest of the money. And so that's what she did. So she was able to save her sons. And the reason that stuck with me is because I thought, his question was, what do you have in the house? And I'm going to pour in my miters. And she said, I only have. So, you know what? From that day on, I try to think of that when my larder gets low and my pantry gets a little bit bare. And all throughout the years when I was raising my children, I would think, I always look around my house and I would think, I ask myself, what do you have in the house? So this is what I want you to do. When things seem bleak, I want you to look around and I want you to look and say, what do I have in the house? Because you know what? You might have something that will save the day for you. Okay? So I looked around this morning. I said, what do I have in the house? This is what I had in the house. And I'm going to make, so I'm making this beautiful, beautiful soup. So this soup, I will, when it's finished, I will put it in my jars, and I will put it in the refrigerator, and I will have soup to eat and soup to share. How you like that? All right, I'm just going to let this cook now. It looks good already. Doesn't it look delicious? And I just wanted to share that with you and just let you know that really, really, and truly, really, little is much when God is in it. All right, I hope you have a beautiful day and a beautiful week, and just know that I love you, and I look forward to seeing you the next time on Simple Food, Simple Life. Love ya. Bye. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.